Hello, everybody. We have an exciting. Are you laughing again at my intro? I'm just going to go with it. Okay, we've tried this 3 times. Lindsay's getting a kick out of the start. Hello, everybody. We have an announcement to make. We are finally putting on the first live event. We've been working on it for 3 years, as Darren was mentioning earlier. The culmination of all the work that we've been doing together as a team at creating what are the most important pieces that we can teach and train somebody in. And that's what we're bringing together for 2 days in London at our power intensive called Creating Love and Money. It's kind of an awkward title, but it's really important. We created it as a team essentially. And why are we calling it Creating Love and Money? Because at Creating, we stand for the integration of both spiritual growth and material success. We see in the world of personal development, of success results work, that people tend to choose one or the other. You can either have love and peace and get your inner fulfillment, or you can make shit happen, have the life you want, the dreams, the material results, the relationships. You got to pick one and you hire a different company for that. But we basically exist. That's our unique positioning in the market. That's our unique offer, is that we take both of those worlds and we say, no, same, both at the same time. And that's what we're championed for. And so creating love, that's a spiritual side of it, and creating money. So why money? Well, first of all, it's because everybody wants it. Most people are a little bit ashamed, myself at times as well, to just say it, to name it. And really at the heart of this, and we'll talk more about this at the event itself, is like, we want you to be able to live your dreams, to live wild dreams, crazy dreams, do whatever you want to do. And yeah, sure, you can manifest some stuff without money, but the truth is, like, dreams cost money. If you want to have a beautiful, amazing life that's an expression of all your desires, it's going to cost money. And so you want to make more money to be able to provide yourself the life that you really want to have. And so let's just name it. Let's say, I want love in my heart. I want love as a way of being. I want to be a loving person. I want to feel love. I want to be guided by love. I want love to be the driving force in my life. And I want the money so I can buy the stuff that I want to have, the house, the car, the experiences, the food, whatever it is that you value, to provide for your family, for your kids, for your grandkids. But for now, I want to dive a little bit deeper with Darren into a story, Darren, that you shared with me.
Thanks, John. I'm so excited about this event. When we first started speaking about this, it was around how do we help people to connect and create their vision, right? Really get a sense of possibility and dream big and go for it. And I remember a few years back, I was in an initial call with a client, and he was sharing with me that, you know, I was asking him, well, what would you love to create in the 6 months that we're going to work together? And he's like, yeah, I want this. I want to get clarity on my career and this and that. And I was like, okay, and what else? And then I just realized he was hesitant to tell me about his vision, his bigger dream, So I asked him a question. I said, what dream have you given up on? And the guy took pause and just started to bawl, just tears coming out of his eyes. And I was like, I was a bit shook by it as well. I was a bit taken aback by this outpouring of emotion. But he shared, after he gathered himself, he said, I've given up on the dream of owning a house and land to raise my family. And I felt like, being a father and a provider and somebody who wants to provide, I felt heartbroken, but also super energized. Like, I want to help this guy reconnect with his possibility and his vision of his future, his dream. So together we worked on it, and long story short, is the guy created himself a house, a new career. He, at the time he had one young kid, he now has 2 kids and a family, and this
whole happened pretty fast too, right? Like, how long would it take?
It happened like within a year of us working together. So he, after the 6 months, he relocated, he got a great job, and he immediately just stepped into this new way of being a landowner and a house owner. And he's since moved to a bigger house in the mountains in the Redlands. And I just, it's one of the most fulfilling client success stories that I have. And years later, I've gone to him. I visited him in his house, and I saw his kids playing on his floor in front of his fireplace. And I was like, "You created this," and he's like, "Thanks to you." And I was like, "Well, yeah, thanks to us, thanks to you being bold enough to express your desire, your vision, and doing what's necessary to be that creates that." Yeah. And So what really energized me about this is that, we get an opportunity to help people to reconnect with their hearts and their true vision of what they would love.
And that's where we're going to start. We're going to start on the Friday morning, helping people to have the courage to dream in a way that maybe they've given up on or something they've never dared to go. You know what just came to me while we were talking, Darren? Remember this? 100 Secret Dreams?
Yes.
When I was, this is like almost 13, 14 years ago. All these people are in the UK, most of them.
Oh, wow.
I spent 2 hours with 100 people when I was early years as a coach, find out what is your secret dream. I'm going to reach out to these people and I'm going to find out. I'm just going to ask them, how's it going? We talked about it. Are you living it? Is it still there? Have you given up on it? Have you expressed it? And if not, then I'll invite them to join us in London. So if you're watching this video and you got an email from me, the idea just came to me now. So I asked each of you guys and myself before we made this video, like, what is the thing that you most want people to understand about this intensive, this power intensive we've created? And Lindsay, you shared, and I'll ask you to flesh it out for us, but you shared with passion that you're most passionate about this moment of liberation from that which blocks them from their dreams. So tell us about that.
Yeah, thanks. So for me, when you suggested about this event and the possibility of getting everybody in a room together, the biggest pull for me was the thought that we can all create in the energy of being actually collectively in touching distance, actually to touch, to hug, to love, to feel that energy, and how that creates so much more powerfully than over digital. We do incredibly well the way that we create and our intuition and our connection. But to be in a room with that unsaid, unspoken energy in the power of how we can see our innocence. And so many times I work with people in creating in the BCM and also in Creator Circle, in how they believe they're seeing the innocence, but there is still something missing. There is still a non-truth that prevents a true embodied connection to creating the forgiveness, to teach people, as many people as we can in person, how to honestly connect to that process is the foundation, I believe, that everything sits on top of. Have the opportunity to get every single person in this room to that place of truth and depth in the creating process, that will create enormous magic and ripples out into the world. And there will be no other opportunity to do it at this level of depth. So
there's no way to go deeper than that. And like what you're, just to reflect back, what I hear in it is like the in-person experience of the creation of that real moment of clarity as to your own innocence, and to be really immersed in that non-judgmental love towards self. What happens, it's like a wellspring of power just opens and you suddenly feel capable of anything. And then we help people to capture that in form, in a speaking of a declaration of who they are.
And then that carries on in the whole learning over 2 days.
Yes.
We're not just touching on it. It's going to be an unconscious competence that will be with these people forever.
Right. That's the way that I think about it, as a reference experience. Like when I go into my meditation practice, if I sit down to meditate, right, like it might not always be what it was at my 10-day Vipassana retreat in India 20 years ago, but that reference experience of 10 days of deep meditation stays with me as a marker for what's possible. And it's like there's a gravity around it. And I can, if I practice regularly, I can get back there. But it was that possibility was born by immersing myself in a powerful experience. So 2 days of immersion in the intense experience of a liberation from judgment and a felt experience of your innocence and the connection with the truth of your power. You'll never be able to forget what it's like to be that connected to the truth of who you are. and that will be a mentor for you for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. And
You know?
how much possibility can be created on the back of that kind of immersion and that kind of commitment that has reference, that lives inside of you.
Right.
That will be created on this event.
Right.
That excites
It
me
will.
more than anything.
I mean, that leads me in. Apart from
Apart
what?
from meeting you and meeting Darren and
I
meeting
know.
Yes.
Lindsay's never met Darren and I in person either. So isn't that we worked
Met
together
no
for
one.
5 years? I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we get
It's
to
going to
hug
be
and-
great to hug you again, John Patrick Morgan. I remember
I know.
our first hug. Yeah.
As I've said many times, what I remember most about our first hug is how muscular your back was. So and if anybody will maybe notice my gesturing, as I remember hugging Darren, my arms are reaching upwards like this, just wrestling my head between his pecs. Yeah,
No.
It's not that big of a
I'm
difference.
not a giant, guys. I'm
No,
not a giant.
no.
But I do remember the feeling of connection that is only possible in a physical contact. And I having come through COVID, restrictions and the whole thing, I personally am craving to be in a community of people who are unique and loving and intentional about, transcendence of their being. And I'm just like juiced up to be in this room with you guys.
Some of the best relationships in my life were born in events like this, which brings me to another point that I wanted to make with Lindsay about being in person. Yes, being able to hug, it's nice, but I used to fly to see my mentor twice a week because he only meets in person, Steve Hardison. And why is that? I mean, he's got his reasons, but for me, why do I want to be in person? Why am I a yes to that? It's because being in the room with a mentor, it's not just about, he could give me a hug and he could stand on top of me and punch me, or, we had a lot of physicality too, but that's not it. It was literally just being in the same heart space, being able to feel the vibration of his voice live in real time. And the most important point of all, being able to be looked in the eyes by him and to look him in the eyes. And this isn't just like, you can do a pretty good job of creating that in a virtual sense, but it's not the same. There's an idea in the work that I do around the archetype of the king, that the king creates you with his eyes. And the way that works, it's like when you have a child and and like my boys are like, daddy, watch, daddy, watch, daddy, watch. When you watch and they can see that you're seeing them and they do the thing, they feel seen. And that is part of what generates their identity. Like, I exist. And when you're in the presence of another person who can see the truth of who you are through all the shit that you've got going on, and you feel seen by them and you trust them and you feel their love, it burns off shit. And so Darren and Lindsay, you guys are masters of this. I practice this mastery of this too, seeing the truth of who people are. And I know that when people are in the room with you, being seen by you and me, that they're going to be able to acknowledge the truth of who they are. That will move them and they will feel that. And that will also be a reference experience. Now, as I say, don't make us your gurus. We're just human beings. We just might've been doing this work a little bit longer than you in some ways. And so we're maybe a little bit further down the road in certain things, what we've created in our life, who we've created ourselves to be and what we've created ourselves to do through our experiences. But that's it. You can too. And our capacity to see you, let it serve as an access point and a reference experience, and then keep doing the same thing. And you will be that for others. In fact, people will walk out of this room on Saturday night as an access point for everybody they meet to more love and more power. That's the thing. The moment you grow in this way, you are the product. If you're in the world of coaching or consulting, this is like a home run for you, a grand slam. This is a no-brainer, because simply the shift in who you be by the end will make you more valuable. And so you'll make more money just because the product has improved. Never mind the fact, the skills and abilities that you can now use, the tools that you've learned that you can use with your people, but just the fact that you are more of an access point to love, freedom, power, to make more money than you were walking in makes it a no-brainer. So that's why for me, I started this business in the room in London, speaking to people. And so for me, this is a return to the beginning, and it's also a return to where I know the most power is. So that's why I want people to most understand about the value on being with us.
For
Early
these 2
bird
days.
pricing is still available. You were saying, what did you say about the early bird thing earlier, Lindsay?
Just how exciting it is in the sense that there's not a time. Usually with early bird, it's like, oh, you've got till this time, and then
Right.
you get the early bird. What we've done is there's a number of seats, and that number of seats is not specified, but we've sold quite a few seats.
Yeah.
So in
Yeah.
selling those seats, we know how many's left.
Right.
But we really are a stand for people being a champion in how they step into this work. So you not knowing when the early bird is ending is a testimony to the way in which you're going to create this event and the beginning part and how crucial that is. So I really encourage the fact that if this is speaking to anyone, step forward, take your seat at the table of this amazing opportunity, because what is created here cannot be mimicked anywhere else in the world. So for me, it's, you always say, and I've heard Darren say, you know, don't wait, create.
That's
Step
it.
forward, take your seat,
That's
because
it.
what's going to happen is gold.
Yeah, don't wait, create. Let your decision be an expression of your power to know because you have chosen.
Oh,
I love you guys. See you in London.